Hey, deep divers, welcome back. You guys are seriously the best, sticking with us, through all our deep dives and
hmm
let's be honest, our occasional tangents. But hey, we love geeking out with you guys.
Oh, yeah. It's true. We definitely have a knack for going down those rabbit holes.
But hey, that's where the real learning happens.
Exactly.
Speaking of learning, we love a good challenge, and this week's deep dive is no exception. So you're on a mission for that summer body, and you brought us a stack of articles on, fitness and nutrition. We're going to unpack it all for you.
Someone's ready to swap out those sweaters for
Okay.
swimsuits. Before we dive into the specifics, I just want to say if you're enjoying these deep dives, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. We love hearing from you.
And something we don't say often enough, share this.
Mm.
If you know someone who's trying to get that summer bod or just wants to learn more about, fitness and nutrition, send this their way. All right, let's get into it. You brought us a guide called Summer Body in 1 Month. And let's be real, that title's a bit clickbaity, right?
Yeah, a bit. While those, dramatic transformations are definitely eye-catching, it's important to set, realistic expectations. The guide itself actually acknowledges this, highlighting a case study where someone lost 20 pounds in 14 weeks. And that was with, perfect adherence to the plan, which, as we all know, is tough in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, life happens. Birthdays, celebrations, late nights at work, those cookies in the pantry calling your name.
Exactly. So the first takeaway here is patience. Building a sustainable, healthy lifestyle takes time. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results, overnight. Consistency and realistic goals are your allies here. Now, both of your sources hit on this fundamental truth when it comes to actually losing fat. It's all about the calorie deficit.
Okay, calorie deficit, we hear that term thrown around a lot. Can you break it down for us? Like, how does it actually work in the body?
Sure. So you see, your body needs a certain amount of energy to function, which we measure in calories. If you consistently consume fewer calories than your body burns, you create a calorie deficit. This forces your body to tap into its energy reserves for fuel, and guess what those reserves are?
Stored fat. I knew it.
Yeah.
So it's like our bodies are these incredible adaptable machines.
Mhm.
Change the input, like fewer calories in, and they shift to a different fuel source, fat burning mode.
Precisely. Now, creating that calorie deficit can be tricky, and this Summer Body in 1 Month guide has some interesting insights on how our environment can make or break our
Oh,
efforts.
yeah, our environment. This is where I personally struggle. I swear, if there's a bag of chips in my pantry, it's like they have a gravitational pull.
Yeah, it's a universal struggle. The guide suggests some pretty tactical approaches to this, like literally throwing away trigger foods.
Yeah?
Or if you're not ready to part with your treats completely, they recommend strategically placing them in, hard to reach
Out
locations.
of sight, out of mind, right?
I like
What other, environmental hacks do they suggest?
Well, they talk about being mindful of where you eat. For example, putting away your phone and turning off the TV while you're, having a meal. It's about actually focusing on the food and savoring each bite.
That's so true. I am definitely guilty of mindless snacking in front of the TV. It's like a black hole for calories. Okay, so we're setting ourselves up for success by creating a more mindful eating environment. Check. What else does this guide recommend?
All right, so here's one that's super important for anyone trying to build that summer body, and both of your sources are in full agreement. Prioritize protein.
Okay, protein. I've heard it's important, but why? Is it just about building, bigger muscles?
It's more than just getting swole. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body's in a catabolic state, meaning it's breaking things down for fuel. And unfortunately, muscle tissue can be one of those things.
Oh, no. That's not what we want. We want to hold on to that muscle. So that's where protein comes in.
Exactly. Adequate protein intake helps preserve muscle mass during weight loss. It signals to your body, hey, these muscles are important, don't break them down.
It's like muscle insurance. I love that. How much protein are we talking about here?
The Summer Body in 1 Month guide cites research recommending zero point 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And they actually include some helpful visuals to show you what that looks like. For example, 30 grams of protein could be a chicken breast, about the size of your palm, or like a cup of Greek yogurt.
Okay, that makes it much easier to visualize. So it's not just about eating less. It's about eating strategically, making sure we're getting enough protein to keep our bodies happy and those muscles intact.
Absolutely. And speaking of strategic eating, let's talk about another concept from the guide: choosing feeling foods.
Okay, Tell me more about these filling foods. I'm always hungry, so I'm all ears.
Well, the guide dives into this fascinating research where they ranked 38 different foods based on their satiety factor, which is basically a measure of how full a food makes you feel and how long it keeps you feeling satisfied.
A ranking of the most filling foods. This I've got to hear. Who are the winners?
You might be surprised. Potatoes, oats, and even fruits like apples and oranges were among the top performers.
Potatoes. Really? I always thought of them as more of a, like, side dish, not a fullness champion.
It's all about the fiber and how certain foods are digested. The key takeaway here is choosing foods that keep you feeling full and satisfied, which can make a huge difference in your ability to, stick to a calorie deficit.
Makes total sense. If you're constantly feeling hungry, you're way more likely to overeat. So strategically choosing filling foods is a must. Speaking of strategy, what about exercise?
Both of your sources are big advocates for weightlifting for fat loss.
Wait, really? I thought cardio was the gold standard for, calorie burning. Everyone's always on the treadmill or elliptical at the gym.
Cardio is definitely important for overall health, but weightlifting brings its own unique benefits to the fat loss game.
Like what? I'm genuinely curious.
Remember how we talked about protein protecting muscle mass during a calorie deficit? Well, lifting weights sends a similar signal to your body. It's like saying, hey, these muscles are important, don't even think about breaking them down.
So it's like giving those muscles a voice. Hey, we're valuable, don't touch us.
Exactly. Lifting weights helps you maintain or even build muscle mass while you're losing fat. And that's key for achieving that, tone and sculpted look. The guide actually cites a meta-analysis, that's a study of studies, that ranked lifting weights in combination with a calorie deficit as the most effective fat loss method.
Wow, that's impressive. So we're not just lifting weights to, look good. We're actually boosting our fat burning potential.
Exactly. It's like giving your metabolism a turbo boost. Now, both sources emphasize that weightlifting is most effective when paired with that calorie deficit. Remember, that's the foundation. You can't out-train a bad diet, as they say.
Got it. Calorie deficit is king, but weightlifting is its powerful sidekick.
Perfect analogy. Now, in addition to weightlifting your summer body in 1 month, Guide also points out something interesting about our activity levels as we start to, lose weight.
What's that?
They say that as we lose weight, we can actually subconsciously become less active.
Huh. That's fascinating. Why do you think that happens?
Our bodies are incredibly efficient, sometimes too efficient for our own good. As we get lighter, it simply takes less energy to move around, so we naturally tend to move less. It's a subtle shift, but it can actually sabotage our progress.
Because we're burning fewer calories without even realizing it. It's like our bodies are working against us.
Exactly. So they encourage us to pay attention to our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT for short.
Neat. I like
Yeah.
that. So what are some ways to boost our NEAT?
Easy ways to incorporate more movement into your day, walking more, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking further away from the store. All those little things add up.
I love that. It's like finding ways to sneak in movement throughout the day. What about setting a step goal?
They recommend aiming for at least 7,000 steps per day. And of course, tracking your steps with a fitness tracker or your phone can help you stay accountable.
All right, so we've got our workout routine, weightlifting a few times a week, getting those steps in, and of course, maintaining that all-important calorie deficit. But let's be honest, sticking to a plan is often the hardest part. We've all been there. We start with the best intentions, and then life happens.
You're so right. Consistency is key. And luckily, the guide offers some great tips for staying on track, what they call consistency hacks.
Okay, I'm all about those hacks. Tell me more.
The first one is called the power of 60%. And it's all about, aiming for consistency over perfection.
Intriguing. I'm all for anything that takes the pressure off being perfect. Tell me about the magic of 60%.
They share a study where they compared 3 groups of people tracking their calories. One group was, super consistent, tracking every single day. Another group tracked, less than 30% of the time. And the third group aimed for at least 60% consistency.
Okay, so not perfect, but still a good amount of tracking. I'm guessing the 60% group had the best results.
You guessed it. This group actually lost the most fat. It shows that you don't need to be perfect to see results. It's about showing up consistently, even if it's not every single day.
That's such a relief. Consistency over perfection. I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
What's the next consistency hack they offer?
So this next one is all about preventing burnout, and it's called diet breaks.
Diet breaks. Okay. I'm intrigued. That sounds like something I could get behind. Tell me everything.
Okay, so think of it like this. Imagine you're driving across the country. You could try to do it all in one go, but you'd probably burn out and run out of gas at some point, right?
Definitely. I need to stop, stretch my legs, grab a snack, maybe even take a nap.
Exactly. And that's what diet breaks are all about. It's a scheduled period, usually like a week or two, where you increase your calorie intake slightly.
Wait, so I can actually eat more during a diet break? This is my kind of hack.
Yeah.
How does this work?
It's not a free-for-all, but it's a chance to, give yourself some flexibility, both mentally and physically. Remember, when you're in a calorie deficit for an extended period, your body starts to adapt. Hormones that regulate hunger and metabolism can shift, making it, harder to stick to your plan.
That makes sense. It's like your body goes into like conservation mode. So a diet break helps reset things.
Exactly. It can help boost those hormones back up, giving you a mental and physical refresh.
So it's like hitting the reset button before jumping back into a calorie deficit. I like it. How often should we be taking these glorious diet breaks?
The guide suggests considering a diet break after every 8 to 12 weeks of consistent dieting. But of course, this can vary depending on the individual and their goals.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. It's like a little reward for all your hard work. I'm definitely a fan of this strategy. What's the final consistency hack they offer?
This one is about managing expectations and staying motivated, especially when it comes to that stubborn belly fat.
Oh, belly fat. The bane of my existence. Tell me they have a magic solution.
Well, there's no magic bullet, but they do offer some, interesting insights. They point out that our bodies often save belly fat for last.
Wait, seriously, why does it have to be that way?
It's frustrating, I know. But apparently, our bodies tend to lose fat from other areas first, like our chest, shoulders, arms, even our face, before tackling that stubborn belly fat.
So I might see progress in other areas before my belly starts to shrink. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And the guide emphasizes the importance of celebrating those wins and trusting the process. They actually share some really inspiring examples of people who followed the plan and saw significant belly fat reduction, but it took months of consistent effort.
Okay, so patience is definitely a virtue when it comes to belly fat. Got it. Can you share one of those examples with us? I love a good success story.
Sure. They highlight a guy named Jesse who stuck to the plan for a whole year. And what's fascinating is that, in the first 3 months, you don't see a huge difference in his belly fat.
Oh man, I can relate to that. Those first few months can feel like an uphill battle.
Right. But then, in month 8, you start to see some major changes in his midsection. And by the end of the year, his transformation is incredible.
Wow. So it's just a matter of time and consistency? No, like crazy tricks or shortcuts.
Exactly. And they highlight another example, someone named Archie who followed the plan for 10 months. Similar story. His face, chest, and shoulders were the first areas to show, significant improvement.
Interesting. So it seems those areas tend to lean out first, and then the belly fat, you know, slowly but surely follows suit.
That seems to be the pattern, yes.
Yeah.
And the point they make is that if Archie had quit after 4 months just because he wasn't seeing a dramatic change in his belly fat, he would have missed out on those incredible results.
That's so true. It's easy to get discouraged and give up too soon, especially when you're not seeing the changes you want in, specific areas.
Exactly. And they share one more example, a woman named Tamara who saw amazing progress after just 8 months of sticking to the plan. Again, same pattern. She noticed changes in other areas of her body first, and then, bam, the belly fat started to melt away.
Okay. I'm seeing a theme here. 8 months, 10 months, a year. Patience is key. But these stories are really encouraging. It's proof that consistency and, sticking with the plan really does pay off.
It does. The takeaway from these examples is that you have more fat to lose than you think, and it might take longer than you expect. But with patience and persistence, you can achieve incredible results.
That's a great way to put it. It's about celebrating the progress you're making in other areas and trusting that your body will eventually target that stubborn belly fat.
Exactly. And remember, everyone's body is different. Genetics, hormones, lifestyle, they all play a role. There's no one-size-fits-all timeline for fat loss.
Right. It's about focusing on what you can control. Your diet, your workouts, your consistency, and, celebrating those wins along the way. So we've covered a lot of ground here, everything from calorie deficits to protein intake to the importance of, weightlifting and NEAT. We've even learned some valuable consistency hacks. What are some other things we should keep in mind as we, embark on our summer body quests?
The guide highlights a few more important points. One is to find an accountability partner or join a community of, like-minded individuals. Having that support system can make a huge difference in staying motivated and on track.
Absolutely. There's nothing like having a tribe cheering you on, especially when things get tough. It's so much easier to stay committed when you know you're not in it alone. What other, gems does this guide offer?
This next tip might seem a bit counterintuitive, but they suggest not, overdoing it at the start.
Wait, not go all out. Isn't that the whole point of a summer body challenge?
It's tempting to jump in with both feet and, completely overhaul your diet and exercise routine overnight. But as we've discussed, consistency is key. And trying to do too much too soon can lead to burnout and ultimately sabotage your efforts.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. New year, new me. Sign me up for that boot camp. I'm cutting out sugar, carbs, and fun.
Mhm.
And then by week 2, I'm back to my old habits, feeling defeated.
Exactly. The guide emphasizes that starting slowly and gradually building up is much more sustainable in the long run. It's about creating a lifestyle that you can actually stick with, not just, a short-term crash diet.
That makes sense. It's like if you're training for a marathon, you don't start by running 26 miles on day 1,
Right.
right? You gradually increase your mileage to avoid, injury and burnout.
Precisely. It's about finding a pace that you can maintain, a way of eating and moving that you can sustain over time. Small changes add up to big results over time.
So small changes over time, building healthy habits one step at a time. I like it. What else should we keep in mind as we work towards our summer bodies?
The guide emphasizes something that's often overlooked in the fitness world:
Hmm.
the importance of listening to your body and prioritizing rest and recovery.
Rest and recovery, so important yet so easily neglected. What's their take on this?
They emphasize that pushing yourself too hard without adequate rest can actually, hinder your progress. When you're constantly pushing your body to the limit, you increase your risk of injury, burnout, and hormonal imbalances that can actually make it harder to lose fat.
That makes sense. I always feel like I need to go all out in every workout, but then I end up feeling exhausted and sore for days. And sometimes that leads to skipping workouts altogether.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between pushing yourself and giving your body the time it needs to recover and rebuild. They suggest incorporating rest days into your routine, listening to your body's signals, and not being afraid to take a break when you need one.
Okay, I'm giving myself permission to rest. No more guilt trips for taking a day off. What else do they say about recovery?
They also highlight the importance of sleep, which, let's be honest, most of us could use a little more of.
Sleep, the holy grail of recovery. I'm always trying to squeeze in a few more hours. Tell me, why is sleep so crucial in this context?
Well, when we're sleep deprived, our bodies produce more of the stress hormone cortisol. And elevated cortisol levels can actually lead to increased belly fat storage.
Oh no, not cortisol. Isn't that the hormone that can also make us crave sugary, fatty foods?
Exactly. So
Mhm.
not getting enough sleep can actually sabotage our summer body goals in multiple ways.
This is getting scary. So we're adding get more sleep to our summer body checklist, along with calorie deficits, weightlifting, NEAT, consistency, rest days. Is there anything else we need to know before we hit the beach?
There's one final and very important point they make. Enjoy the process.
Yes. This is so crucial. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey, right?
Mhm.
If you're miserable every step of the way, what's the point?
Exactly. They emphasize that if you're constantly restricting yourself and forcing yourself to do things you hate, you're unlikely to stick with it. Sustainability is key. It's about finding ways to make healthy living enjoyable.
So true. It's about finding ways to make healthy living like a part of your lifestyle, not a chore or a punishment.
Exactly. Experiment with different types of exercise, find healthy recipes that you actually enjoy, and celebrate those small wins along the way.
Okay, that's a great reminder. It's not about being perfect or, punishing ourselves. It's about finding joy in movement, nourishment, and self-care.
Absolutely. And remember, progress isn't linear. There will be ups and downs, setbacks and breakthroughs. That's all part of the journey.
Right, it's all part of the process. Embrace the imperfections, learn from the challenges, and keep moving forward.
Well, it sounds like we've covered all the bases here, from the nitty-gritty science to those all-important mindset shifts.
We have. And deep divers. Remember, building that summer body is a journey, not a sprint.
Exactly. It's about creating sustainable habits that you can carry with you long after the summer sun fades.
So what's the final takeaway?
Find what works for you, embrace the process, and remember that the most important goal is to feel good in your own skin.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We've given you the knowledge, deep divers. Now it's your turn to take action and create your own summer body success stories. And we want to hear all about it. Share your insights, your struggles, and your triumphs using the hashtag #DeepDiveSummerBody. Let's build a community of support and inspiration.
Absolutely. We're all in this together. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode with anyone who might benefit.
We'll see you next time on the Deep Dive. Well, deep divers, I think we've officially cracked the code to the summer body. Or at least, we've given you the blueprint.
Yeah, we've certainly explored some fascinating research and practical tips. And it's clear that, like most things in life, achieving those summer body goals comes down to a combination of science and strategy.
Absolutely. So let's recap those key takeaways. What are the non-negotiables for this transformation?
First and foremost, that calorie deficit is king. You can't outtrain a bad diet. To see those fat loss results, you need to be consistently consuming fewer calories than you're burning.
Makes sense. So the basic law of thermodynamics, right? Energy in, energy out. But it's not just about, mindlessly cutting calories. What else do we need to keep in mind?
Well, both of your sources emphasize prioritizing protein, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. This helps preserve that hard-earned muscle mass and prevents your body from going into a catabolic state.
Right. We don't want to lose those muscles we're working so hard to build. And remember those visuals from the Summer Body in 1 Month guide. Getting enough protein doesn't have to be complicated.
Absolutely. A palm-sized chicken breast, a cup of Greek yogurt, a handful of almonds. There are so many delicious and convenient ways to get your protein fix.
And let's not forget those filling foods that top the satiety charts. Potatoes, oats, fruits, and veggies. They're all superstars when it comes to keeping us feeling, full and satisfied.
Right. Choosing foods that keep you feeling full and energized can make a huge difference in sticking to that calorie deficit. It's about working with your body, not against it.
So we've got our nutrition dialed in. What about the exercise front?
Both sources strongly advocate for weightlifting, not just for building muscle, but also for boosting that metabolism and sending a signal to your body to prioritize those muscles even when you're in a calorie deficit.
And as they say, you can't outtrain a bad diet. But combining weightlifting with that calorie deficit is a winning combo for fat loss.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of everyday movement, what we call NEAT. Walking, taking the stairs, parking further away, all those little things add up to a significant calorie burn over time.
Sneaky little ways to boost our metabolism. I love it. Now, one thing that really resonated with me was the concept of consistency over perfection.
The power of 60%. You don't have to be perfect every day to see results. It's about showing up consistently, even if you stumble or miss a workout or have, less than perfect meal.
And speaking of stumbling blocks, I am so glad we talked about diet breaks. What a brilliant strategy for preventing burnout and keeping our hormones happy.
It's a game changer for so many people. Allowing yourself a week or two of slightly increased calories can actually help you stay on track in the long run.
Okay, so we've covered the main ingredients for that summer body transformation. A calorie deficit, protein-rich meals, filling foods, weightlifting, NEAT, consistency, and those strategic diet breaks.
Is there anything else we should keep in mind as we embark on this journey?
Remember those inspiring stories we discussed? Those folks achieved, amazing results. It took time and dedication. Don't get discouraged if you don't see drastic changes overnight. Everyone's body is different.
And remember that belly fat might be the last to go, but don't give up. Celebrate the progress you're making in other areas and trust that your body will eventually catch up.
Exactly. Trust the process, listen to your body, find an accountability buddy, and most importantly, enjoy the journey.
Yes. It's not about punishing ourselves or striving for some, arbitrary ideal. It's about finding a healthy lifestyle that we can actually enjoy and sustain.
Well said. Find what works for you, experiment, have fun, and remember that the most important goal is to feel good in your own skin. I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've given you the knowledge, deep divers. Now it's your turn to take action and create your own summer body success stories. And we want to hear all about it. Share your insights, your struggles, and your triumphs using the hashtag #DeepDiveSummerBody. Let's build a community of support and inspiration.
Absolutely. We're all in this together. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share this episode with anyone who might benefit. We'll see you next time.